Hi, my name is Boris, and in this video I'm going to show you 5 awesome workflow hacks in Ableton. These are going to help you with creating drum patterns, can make MIDI recording easier, and will speed up your music production process overall. Before we get into the video, if you like what we are doing on this channel, make sure to subscribe. We've got more content about Ableton Live hacks coming up. If you'd like to learn Ableton 12 with all of the foundations of music production, check out our Beginner to Advanced Live 12 Start to Finish course. And make sure to also check out the Everything Bundle Collector's Edition, which includes all of the courses, sound packs and project files in our store. To see all of that, check the video description. Alright, so let's jump in. Right now I just have this really simple MIDI pattern loaded up with a stock Ableton drum kit. Really simple. And the first workflow hack for me is Sound Similarity Search. If you're aware of this feature, that's great, but even then, I hope you're using it because it's incredibly powerful, and it's especially powerful in the drum rack. So I really like to do this. You just click on this button over here, and you can go left and right over here and basically swap the entire drum rack onto similar samples. You could do that individually on certain pads, but if we just click right, we get a different sample. So that's incredibly useful. Countless times I just made a certain pattern, I thought something was missing, and then I just switched the samples and it worked. You might find a new hi-hat, you might find a new kick drum. You probably already have a huge library of sounds, so this really helps with choosing the right one instead of just browsing through countless folders and just tiring your ears even more by just scrolling through different sounds. So this is one way of doing it. Another way we could use this is, for example, if we have this sample over here, we can just click over here and we get similar sounds. And this way you can choose some nice variations as well, only that you need to just drag this sound over to the drum rack. But also a nice function of doing it in the browser is the Similarity Search rank. So the higher this bar over here, the more likely it is that the sounds are similar. Alright, so Similarity Search is an incredible workflow hack, and I really encourage you to check it out if you're not yet using it. Alright, so the next workflow hack I wanted to show you is saving your discarded ideas as Ableton Live clips. Basically in Ableton, there's something called clips. You can browse them right here. And how these work is basically you can just preview them and you can drag these over to Ableton and it will import the entire chain here. So we have drum rack this way and we can either play this pattern or you can edit it out as well. So it's a bit more flexible than just dragging an audio loop, or it's all prepared like this. So for instance, let's say we have this pattern over here and we want to save it as an Ableton Live clip. It's really easy to do. So you have this user library folder. You might have empty clips over here. So what you can do is just take this pattern. If you need to, you can consolidate it as well. And you can just drag and drop it straight into clips. You can preview it here. And you can also now drag and drop it right into any project. If sometime later on you think, hey, maybe I can just import some drums that I've been making recently that I haven't yet used in any track, you can easily do it over here. So as you can see, it remembers all of the settings, for example, our muted sounds, our macros, everything is ready to go, and you can easily just modify the drum pattern over here, even with such more complex patterns. So it's a really nice way of just saving patterns if you end up not using these. And the next Ableton workflow hack that I wanted to show you is previewing loops while playing your project. Alright, so let's say we have this clip going on right here. We just have a kick and a snare. So what if we wanted to play this and preview some hat loops to play alongside it? Alright, so first of all, make sure that your global quantization is set to 2 bars or 1 bar even. If it's set to none, it's just not going to play in time because your samples will just trigger immediately when we press them. So let's say we have 2 bars. Let's play this clip and then preview some hat loops. Some of them have a better sync with our clip. Some of these don't really fit, but some of these could be used. So it's a really great way of just previewing your loops with your project, even without dragging and dropping, because that would take us way more time if we were to just drop each of these loops and preview them individually in the clip view or in the arrangement, doesn't matter. So make sure to just set the global quantization, press these headphones so that you can preview your samples. Make sure that these samples have been scanned through. If you have these check marks over here, that means you are free to preview these samples, and Ableton will try its best to fit it into the tempo of your project. All right, so the next workflow hack, in my opinion, it's a really great one, and it's Capture MIDI. And if you're not yet using Capture MIDI, it's time to start, because if you're improvising on your MIDI keyboard or you're doing anything else MIDI-wise that you'd like to recall, this is incredibly useful. Let's say we are just jamming away and we are playing some road sounds. And if that sounded great, we can now just go back, even if we haven't yet recorded this sound. So you just need to press this button over here, and it's the Capture MIDI button. And it's right here. And even if you play longer patterns, usually Ableton is going to remember it all. And it's especially useful in cases when you found something nice when you're jamming, but you can't quite recall it easily. You can just press Capture MIDI and it's right there. You don't even have to really play with the metronome, because Ableton is going to try its best to figure out the tempo of what you're playing. So that's incredibly useful. Sometimes I just keep jamming away on the MIDI keyboard and I don't even record anything. I just use Capture MIDI every time I find something nice, and I end up with enough MIDI to just make an entire track. All right, so the last workflow hack for today is going to be saving your templates. And Ableton has a great templates section now. So maybe you might want to use Ableton for your podcast. Maybe you can use it to play your MIDI drum kit. Maybe you are using it to play guitar and you have different plugins for that loaded up in some projects. Maybe you'd like a quicker way to just get started with certain genres. This is a perfect way of getting that. Basically, you can take any project and you just go to File, Save, Live Set as Template. And what that does is it just saves your set over here in User Library Templates. You can call it Test, for example. And now if we go to Templates, we can quickly recall this project and even drag individual tracks out of that. So for instance, I have a simple template for playing the guitar. I have a separate track for acoustic, electric. So if I double click a sub track over here, it just gets loaded up straight into the project. And yeah, so we have all of our effects here and it's really nice. And also you can save your Ableton Live Set as a default template. So save Live Set as default set. And basically every time you load up Ableton is going to go right into this project. What you can also do is, for instance, if we have an audio effect that you keep on using, and for example, you find yourself reducing the dry wet every time and reducing the size, you might want to just right click and go to Save as Default Preset. And now every time you load up this audio effect, it's going to load up with these exact effects. So that's also really useful. Other defaults that you can add, for instance, if you end up using reverb and utility on every single audio track, you can easily save an audio track as a default audio track. So just right clicking on the track, save as default audio track. And now if we go insert an audio track, it gets loaded up with our two effects. You can do the same thing with MIDI tracks, so loading up different effects could be much easier, and you can even load up your favorite synth on a new MIDI track if you end up using it very often and just speed up your process this way. There are so many ways in which you can speed up your workflow by just saving things as templates, as default sets, and as default audio tracks, MIDI tracks, and audio effects, and MIDI effects, of course, as well. Alright, I hope you found this video useful. Make sure to check out our Music Production Academy with lots of start to finish courses on making tracks in various genres. And if you'd like to learn Ableton 12 with all of the foundations of music production, check out our Beginner to Advanced Live 12 Start to Finish course. Make sure to also check out the Everything Bundle Collector's Edition, which includes all of the courses, sound packs, and project files in our store. To see all of that, check the video description. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. If you enjoyed this video, leave us a like, write a comment, and I will see you in the next ones.